Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time since I've sat down and made a YouTube video. There are a lot of reasons for that. The main one being I had my beautiful daughter last year, and all year long last year was so incredibly busy between figuring out how to be a mom to her and working full-time. I went back to school and finished my bachelor's degree. I've done a lot of things that kept me really busy and kept me away from pursuing my my hobbies, I guess. So in today's video, I just want to give you guys an update because the last thing you seen from me was a nursery tour video that I filmed after she was already born and once we'd been using the nursery and stuff. So there's that, but she's walking away. Hold on. I want to introduce you guys to my baby. My baby's name is Jovi. You want to say hi? Jovi. Hey. Hey girl, hey. Her name is Jovi. So yeah, I've been incredibly busy. She was born March the 6th last year, which I never did an official birth announcement or birth story video or anything like that I wanted to do. But in this video, I'm just going to kind of catch up with you guys and go into some of those things that I wanted to talk about then. So yeah, Jovi was born in March of last year. She is the light of my life, and she is very busy and into quite literally everything. Her birth definitely did not go the way that I had planned or anticipated for it to go. She ended up being a C-section baby, and I am okay with that, and I'm at peace with that now. It wasn't an emergency C-section situation. I ended up going to the hospital to be induced, and the induction after 14 hours had made no progress at all whatsoever. And I have a herniated disc in my back at L4, L5, which most of the time it is great. All I've ever done for it is physical therapy, chiropractic care, ice, natural anti-inflammatories like omega-3s, curcumin, stuff like that. All of that works normally. In labor, I had back labor though. So, 14 hours of back labor and making no dilation progression led me to literally beg my OBGYN to give me a C-section. And she was reluctant at first. She wanted me to try other things, but I just kind of explained things to her. I'm like, listen, I'm in back labor. My back already hurts. I'm very weary of getting an epidural and having the epidural catheter stay in my back. I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of panic attacks. Anxiety and panic attacks were leading to increased blood pressure with me, heart rate accelerations and decelerations for Jovi. So I told her, I was like, I am seriously afraid that if we continue this process, I don't have any doubts that changing medications or breaking my water or anything like that, I think it'll work. I think it'll help me dilate and stuff, but I think ultimately this is going to end in an emergency C-section anyways, just based off of how I was reacting with my blood pressure and heart rate and how Jovi was reacting with her heart rate and stuff. So she ended up agreeing, and we did a C-section. Jovi was born at 11:33 a.m. on March 6, 2024. That was the scariest time of my life for sure, but also the best thing that I ever did. Jovi's cord was wrapped around her neck 3 times, and her hands were on top of her head like this. So when she pulled her out and she was telling me all these things, she's like, I'm really glad that you asked for a C-section and pushed for a C-section, because you were absolutely right. Unless she moved and kind of like changed her position, she probably would have ended in an emergency C-section anyways. Because if she would have continued down the birth canal with her cord wrapped around her neck 3 times and her hands on her head like this, they would have caught heart decelerations and stuff. The closer she got to being actually in the birth canal and stuff, and we would have ended in an emergency C-section anyways, most likely because of that, if she did not move before. So, I'm glad that happened. The only traumatic thing that happened after she was born, which was just more so like traumatic for me, not for her, is she was born with low blood sugar. And they immediately, as soon as she come out, I got to look at her for a second. They held her up and then they took her to the warmer. They did all the things. They checked her weight, they cleared her airways, put all the bracelets on her, and then they checked her blood sugar. They check every baby's blood sugar who was ever born, but especially babies who were born to moms with like pre-diabetes and stuff like that. They make sure to check them. So Jovi was born with low blood sugar, and they gave her some of the glucose stuff that they could give her like while she was in the warmer. And then at first it wasn't going up, so they gave her another dose of it while she was in the warmer, and it went up that time. After that, she was able to come see me and her dad. Her dad was able to hold her while they were sewing me up and stuff. And then we got put in a recovery room, and I got to hold her for the first time. Like 2 or 3 minutes after I got to hold her for the first time, some nurses from the nursery came down, checked her blood sugar again. Her blood sugar had dropped again, and they're like, hey, I'm going to give you 5 minutes to get her to eat something, and I'm going to come back and check, and if she hasn't gone up in the next 5 minutes, we have to take her to the nursery. And if her blood sugar doesn't go back up in the nursery, then she has to go to the NICU, and they're like, we'll let you know. So pretty much. So they gave us a bottle. We tried to get her to eat. She would not latch to the bottle. She would not eat anything for us. So they came back, they checked her blood sugar. It was staying the same, and they're like, hey, we gotta like take her up there and see if we can give her some more of the glucose stuff, see if we can get her to eat. And they took her. And I still hate telling this part of the story, because this is like the only thing that broke my heart when she was born. And that was the fact that I literally had her for 10 minutes, and then they took her to help get her blood sugar up, and I didn't see her for like 5-6 hours. That was literally the worst part of the whole experience, and that was the only traumatic part of that whole experience. So they ended up getting her to eat. She needed fluid suction out of her belly and stuff, something like that. I don't know. Somebody came in, and one of her nurses said like, hey, we suctioned so many milliliters of fluid out of her, and then we were able to get her to eat. So hopefully like she feels hungry or whatever. So anyways, after that we had to wake her up every 2 to 3 hours and feed her, and we did that, and it was miserable because you don't sleep in the hospital at all whatsoever. Hi. But we did it, and her blood sugars were stable about 24 hours after birth. So everything with that was good. So yeah, we went into the hospital on a Tuesday evening, and we didn't get to come home until Friday afternoon. So it was a lot. It was a long hospital stay. The first 2 weeks of being home with her were the hardest for me. I wasn't sleeping, but I also did not trust anybody else to watch her, and that ended up being really, really hard on me. and I had to really get over that. And once I did and I started sleeping, things got much better. She also was having like bottle issues where she got switched. Oops, I'm gonna move this camera. She got switched from like regular Similac formula to the sensitive Similac formula, but then we had to switch again to Similac Pro Total Comfort, and we finally landed on that one. But she was like really gassy, really fussy, projectile vomiting. It was a whole thing for like the first 3 weeks of her life. So yeah, there was just a lot going on. We got through it though. She ended up starting to sleep through the night, and her feeds definitely got better with the formula change, and we have just been on the up and up ever since. She is now 13 months, almost 14 months old, and she is doing really well. She's perfectly healthy, which we are super thankful for. She is still meeting all of her milestones like she needs to, so we are just very grateful to be her parents, and I'm very thankful that everything worked out the way that it did and that she's good. So yeah, I am currently running out of time to keep her entertained, so I am going to end this video here, and I will see you all in the next video. Thank you guys so much for watching.